Oh, about that time. All right, 5 o'clock, call the January 20th meeting of the West Bridgewater Water Commission to order. To start with the minutes. You had comments? Did you have any comments to the minutes?
Do not.
Entertain a motion
I make a motion for the minutes of,
to accept the minutes of
Second.
January 5th.
January. Yeah, the date, that was the other thing, the date
Yeah.
at the top was wrong, has to be corrected also.
Okay.
All in favor?
aye.
Say, aye.
You already did second it.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. Okay, warrants been signed. Do we have any abatements
We do
in
not.
this? No? Right, then, Mr. Hoyt, update on the treatment plant projects.
I think he's using smaller font so we can't see
This
it.
one did look like, does look like it printed out funny, I'm sorry.
Says the guy who printed out this.
But, well, I could read it without my glasses, so that means it can't be that small.
Yeah, so this one has a bit. Alright, so starting with Manley, so we had our project meeting last week, and we kind of walked through, we saw that the bag filter was there, the work was more or less ready to do a soft start. Unfortunately, we had some instrumentation issues that led to overpressurization of the plant. It's caused some issues with the piping on the top of the old vessels and some issues unfortunately out at the river well. It looks like it was a matter of human error by the instrumentation representative of the contractor. So as a result, Wayne unfortunately is doing a little bit of repair work out there to kind of get the system back together. So it's a little disappointing that it happened. I wouldn't say it's unheard of for a retrofit project to have hiccups like this, but this one, where it was kind of a known goal, is disappointing. What do you pressurize it to?
Too much.
Yeah, we got over 100, right? Maybe 130,
130.
yeah. So, unfortunately, Ben, who was our hero 2 weeks ago, stepping up and doing the electrical contractor's job to get us ready in time, was unfortunately not the hero this time around. So, long story short, we're hoping that between this week we can get the plant back up and ready to run. Then next week we can do our fine tuning of the green sand process, kind of prove that we've got a handle on the performance, so the iron manganese levels at the back, but as well have a handle on the chlorine. So that we, don't worry about over-chlorinating the PFAS vessels that are. So currently, we have added who's the representative for the PFAS media on site, not next week, but the week after. So our goal is to spend the next, week and a half, kind of getting ready for that. And then hopefully, it'll be, knock on wood, smooth sailing through that part of the startup. But when Wayne's ready for us, we're gonna come out and try to do some testing as well. We're gonna take some own measurements for our own records to kind of supplement the soft start, which is right now just trying to make sure everything works. We work out the kinks, and that the system's operating the way we want. We also have to check alarms at some point, see that they're calling out. So that's kind of all the things we're trying to get sorted out, so that after we do the actual startup, we're ready for DEP. And that'll be the last hurdle before we can go into the system. So with that in mind, we've updated the funding update. Kind of the main takeaways here, I think it changed mostly in a positive direction. So the engineering is still showing being under budget. The construction, with the change orders, that amount also went down since last time I was here. The bag filter change order was done time and materials. So our original estimate for that was $115,000. The final number came in at just over $70,000. So, well under the estimate, which means more funds available for ARPA. So the takeaway is the pay application they submitted now. We're currently figuring out how much we need to pay out of ARPA funds, because if you look at the estimate to complete, we're just under $550,000 due to BISCO by the time the project is over. And according to what I have for the ARPA balance, that's about $580,000, which is more, more than the last pay application would be. So this is the point where we want to start using the ARPA funds for the contract work also. And then there still will be some there for these change orders. The only change order number that's kind of still out there is this $7,500 for the chem pump. Was the extra signal wiring we had to do once we kind of got into it.
So when will you know for sure on what the ARPA funds actually?
So if Wayne confirms that, his balance is showing the 580, 600, then we'll know. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's okay.
Is there gonna be any delay because of them overpressurizing the system and the work that Wayne's having to do now?
I mean, I'd say it's setting us back 3 to 5 days.
Any gaskets blown, or there's no relief valve on that system, so that didn't?
I mean, it kind of relieved pressure at the weak points, so it did blow off 1 tube, but that wasn't enough to pressurize. So then
That we know of right now, though.
well, I mean, we'll.
What's the working pressure on that moment, 65?
Yep.
Yeah, now I'm getting you some more credit.
Okay, so yeah, your number is the 557, so we're off by a little bit, which is okay.
When does the retainage, I see retainage held.
So when they hit substantial completion,
Yeah.
we'll reduce the retainage down to the value of punch list items.
All right, so is that something that we owe them? So, I just don't see a line item here for it.
Yeah, I didn't put it in its own category. I can do that for the next update
Alright.
if you want to see it split out.
I only know because I put the wrong number in one of my things when I was totaling. I used retainage instead of the actual.
Oh, yeah. So essentially, it's money that you're spent because you owe them that
Right.
money. But it's held in escrow so that if for some reason, at the end of the project, there needs to
Something
be
missing.
financial motivation to come back and fix things.
Right.
That's there. So like I said, once we get to substantial completion, that means you have more or less beneficial use of the plant. Then that retainage gets reduced down to the outstanding punch list items. So that's something that you'll get to weigh in on as well.
All right, but we'll have to, so we issue a warrant, so we haven't paid it yet.
So that retainage will be moved into a pay application.
All right,
So it'll be the same process, you don't have to worry about it, it'll just, one
Yeah.
day your pay application will include paying them to retain it.
all right, because I just know that the SRF, it closes on February 6th. So at that point, the only funds we have left are the ARPA funds.
Right. Okay.
They didn't ask, they just closed it.
Jan, can you go a little bit more about this overpressurization? Like, what was affected? How much piping? How many, was it the whole plant? Or was it just one certain area, the new stuff that they're doing, or?
So essentially, everything from the wells to the outlet of the green sand.
So all the piping in the buildings?
Yeah, all the filters did not open up to let the water out.
Why did we put so much pressure in it?
Because we didn't know it was running.
The
There's
instrumentation
no,
guy.
there's no the instrumentation guy was running the plant. The pumps indicated they were on, but we saw no flow, so then he started looking into his program, and somehow he was able to trigger the pumps to turn on, but we had no idea they actually turned on. And then, when the thing blew off, we knew they were on. It was instantaneous, it's fast. We've had them build in, lag time so that they ramp up now. They weren't ramping up at that time, so they just came on. The good thing is it indicated to us that we have pipe that's worn out on the tops. Can you thread 2-inch pipe?
Yeah.
All right. So we have to we're gonna replace some sections up there. It's not a big job, but it just showed us that pipe should be replaced.
Well, what about gauges and things like that,
No, they could all handle it. That's
I mean, the
how,
vessels themselves are rated for much more than that.
right.
Just unfortunately, there are some weak points in the system that weren't designed to see that.
should we hold back money for a period of time just in case something might happen 6 months from now? Since we're talking
So,
about retainage.
I mean, I think you
That's-
could
that's not
hold
what
them
retainage-
to repairs, you know, if Wayne is spending water department money to rectify it, you could file a claim and ask for reimbursement.
Yeah, because realistically, they broke it, they're supposed
Who broke
to
it?
take it. Contractor.
So,
But we don't know what the potential.
Yeah, so I've
payments
asked
could be
Wayne
in
to
the future.
track what it's costing, and then, you know, we'll,
Well, we should get some sort of a warranty on this for a period of time, just, I would
It-
think just to cover our
It's a
own
matter of
base.
getting, so the program it's not like one page. It could be a couple of 100 pages of lines of code. And somewhere, so what the actual fault was, there was not a signal wire going from the VFDs over to the SCADA to tell them to turn on. I don't know how he was able to jump it from up at Manley Street and turn them on. If he had gone down, then we would have known, but somehow he was able to force the pumps on from at Manley Street.
But when he did, they came on full speed.
They came on full speed and we had no idea, he didn't tell us I'm turning them on. They already had run indicator lights on, but they weren't running until he did whatever he did.
Those pumps, the well pumps pumped up to 165, 130 pounds?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah, so, I mean, to your point, when, you know, we'll know if there are any other leaks when we get back up and running again, because we'll be able to see if there are any pressure drops. But in terms of whether any other joints have experienced fatigue that might fail sooner than they otherwise would have, which we have no way of
I can't tell.
testing
How about the
that.
pumps? Are those designed for twice the working pressure?
So the pumps will be fine,
I mean,
again.
the
yeah.
pumps made the pressure.
They're,
Okay.
yeah, they're centrifugals, so they're not positive displacements.
All right.
But could we have, as they do a pressure test on those lines before that?
So the only way
From-
there is no way for me to pressure test them. There are check valves involved, and they should all be holding, but I could probably put one on the hydrant down there. But right now, we shut off the butterfly at the plant because we could hear it running backwards. I could hear it gurgling back to the well.
Yeah.
And it pretty much blew off in the worst location, the gate valve on the well. And now it's been 20 degrees.
Yeah. But just like what John's worried about, the damage to the potentially
Right.
the joints or something. If we
Yeah,
get
I
pressure
can't tell
test
what
those.
else. We just know that one popped because I saw
Yeah.
it coming up.
Yeah, but if you've got one piece of pipe that needs to be replaced, and that plant's 35 years old and the piping's original, so who's to say that some of the other?
They
You know,
do
six
rust,
months from now.
rust out. It's
No, I get it, but I'm just saying, but this could have expedited the process of it needing to be repaired. I'm just throwing things out there.
No, it's a fair point.
I just know from a plumbing standpoint, what we do, we pressurize things, 10 times 1.10, 1.1 of the working pressure,
Right.
not double.
Exactly. So, I asked Wayne to track any costs he incurs.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about future leaks. That's my
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah, so I think at this point, we're gonna wait for the plant to be kind of back up and running, get back into the soft startup phase, kind of go through our debugging, making sure everything works. Then, Tate Howard's gonna come out, do some kind of guided testing. We're gonna wanna record some parameters, kind of a range of flows, see, what our set points on the chemical pumps are to get certain residuals, et cetera. Make sure that we're hitting a range of outcomes so Wayne has some baseline for down the road if he's gonna operate at 300 gallons per minute at this residual versus 200 gallons per minute at this residual, and he has some idea that, the chemical pump can maintain the correct dosage and give him a starting point on some of those dosages. Because, we have all of the empirical numbers that we calculated using chemistry, stoichiometry, but then as you know,
You
in
need
the
to
real
do your
world,
real
your raw
test.
water might have something else using up chlorine that you didn't expect. Or, there might be a bacteria hitting one of the wells that, would have otherwise been a hit, but you have enough chlorine to, get your 4-log removal, so your chemical usage goes up a little bit. Those types of things, you won't see until you're testing it in the field, so to speak. So hopefully at the, at the next meeting, we're in the kind of swing of proper, startup and getting ready for DEP to come out.
And at that point, we'll have final bid on the budget with the ARPA funds squared away and,
Yeah, so I think I think Wayne's number is pretty close to mine, so I'm thinking almost every pay application moving forward will be ARPA. So I don't think this February 6th deadline is gonna end up biting us in the butt, even though it's bizarre that they unilaterally made that decision. I think we have enough, we have almost the exact amount of ARPA funds left as we have estimated costs left. We might just have like an awkward amount when it doesn't line up penny for penny that, we have to figure out one way or the other to get as close as we can, but it's not gonna, I'm sure, line up to be 0.00 on the balance sheet. But,
it'll be close.
yeah.
And we ended up saving around $750,000 of SRF loan that we don't have to
Right,
pay
so
back
that
as a loan.
loan principal
Yep.
won't exist at the end of this, which, as you know, when we looked at your rate projections, that we would have assumed that you had
In
that
there, yep.
additional burden. Yep. Any other questions on
Yeah,
Manly?
anything else? Nope. Mark?
Ben did send me a text that he's working on the quote for the SCADA computers.
Yeah, so, that's kind of on the Sierra Norman side, good segue. Oh, this didn't print out the change order part. Okay, I'll go off memory. So, long story short, Sear Norman, they are back on site this week preparing for the eventual foundation pour. So they had left about a foot of excavation out there they still needed to do. So they're gonna bring out their ground heaters, they're gonna remove that additional foot of material, then they'll start with their mud mat, which is a support pour for the eventual foundation pour, in anticipation of the metal building being approved and the rebar. So one thing that was picked up is that where the columns fall aren't exactly where we showed them on the drawings. So there is some modification to the rebar, which I guess is kind of indication for our sub why he wouldn't approve the rebar until he had these. But also where some of the columns are falling, we call them like minor conflicts. So we're just documenting those to let the contractor know, like, hey, now that you have the column here, and you have to adjust your CMU by 5 inches, like, that's on you. Like, if it costs you extra
Okay.
because the
That's
wall
concern.
moved, because you put a column in a different spot, like, that's your expense. We're not seeing anything that breaks the design, where we have to say, no, you can't put a column there, but we're just calling out the locations where the columns are different, saying, this is the impact, this is the conflict, resolution is at your expense. And that's more than fair, and certainly within the contract to hold them to that. So I think that response is going back to them hopefully this week. We were told we'd get that design back as early as today.
For the rebar?
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the big thing they're waiting on before they'll start being out here, you know, more or less full-time. So I think by the end of this month, we'd expect them to be on site pretty regularly. They mentioned there might be a little bit of a slowdown depending on when they finish this work and the actual rebar shows up. But, you know, for the most part, we're looking in the next 3-ish, 4-ish weeks, starting to see some serious progress. So budget-wise, there's not a whole lot going on yet. Everything, all these values, you know, the estimate to completes align with the project estimates and contract amounts. But I did want to talk about change orders, and I'm frustrated because that part of the table didn't print. But we have a handful of proposed change orders that have come through, none of which have been processed yet, but some of which I think are a good talking point and trying to get kind of all get on the same page about them. So the first one is actually a credit. So they're proposing to take our on-site service tubing, which we specified as being copper, and use the polyethylene tubing, which we do use pretty regularly, but the default standard here has been copper, so that's what we held. The lengths of some of this service tubing are the result of us having to connect to the system downstream of our 4-log point. So in other words, DEP wants your first customer to be after there's been enough contact time for your chlorine to have made contact with your water before the first customer. And you guys are your own first customer because you're here and you're there. So in order to make sure, you know, you meet those requirements, your service is running up the road like 100 feet essentially connecting in. So you have these long runs of copper tubing, which exceed the length of, you know, standard tube lengths. So you're already going to have field connections of copper. So one of the reasons why we kind of like to go copper is for those long continuous runs. But in this case, where we're exceeding those lengths, and we do have some interesting geometry, we're seeing that there is a potential benefit of early on in the project receiving a credit of substantial value, and not really giving up a whole lot from our opinion on it. So they've offered, and I apologize again for not having the exact numbers, but they offered a credit that was just over $36,000, to essentially, if we were to allow them to use the plastic pipe instead of.
And what's the
copper.
what's the cost difference between the copper and the poly pipe?
So we haven't gone through all the backup on it yet. We got the new one at the end of last week, but we have that number. I don't have it off the top of my head.
It looks like the copper tubing, 1.5 copper tubing, it had a subtotal cost of 19,356. 1.5 PE tubing is 1,000, looks like 08. So it's a
What's the date on that copper tubing price? Because it's,
Oh, it just went, I know.
Yeah.
It
Oh, I see what you're saying.
skyrocketed.
yeah.
I don't mind the plastic, I think plastic is better. Our issue here in town I had a couple of thousand copper lines, never had an issue with them blowing off the thing. We only had 100 or so plastic ones, and we ate a claim for one, and we had another couple blow off the ends. So that's why we switched back to only copper.
Plus you can trace copper.
And we can trace the copper.
Can't trace plastic without a tracer
The
line.
wire.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that they.
Put a trace.
include-
aren't you supposed to put a tracer line in?
Yes, but some contractors weren't buying it with the thing. They're like, oh, well, we'll throw a wire in the hole. Like, they were doing their own things. And then you never,
But aren't you watching?
we can't be standing there all the time. Yes, we do check it before they backfill, but it became a nightmare. And the fact that we ate an insurance claim for one blowing off, that kind of stopped it.
So what is the purpose of them proposing this change order, other than the price of copper has gone up 40% in the past 8 months?
Well,
Yeah, they find it in long lengths, they find it much easier to work with.
And this was part of our bid spec, that is to be copper.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So I'm just
So,
curious for the backup for next meeting that we have about that.
yeah, sorry, like I said, I thought I had all the numbers on the spreadsheet, but I didn't select the correct print area, so it just printed what it wanted. But yeah, we have all the backup. I can forward it to you.
Yep.
Or I can send it to
Yeah.
you to distribute to them.
How many feet, an inch and a half?
It's a long run. It's from here all the way up to the first house, Victoria Way.
Probably 600 feet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's times 2, right? So we have one from here
Yeah,
going up
right.
there, then one from the plant also going up there.
Yeah, 'cause
They run parallel, they don't, right?
Yeah.
What type, is that K or L?
L.
Probably K.
No, the bendable.
It's both K, is it K or L? It's probably K.
I think
That's what we require for water service to come into the houses, K or
Yeah,
L.
K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure it's okay.
Well, I know 3/4 K is $9.50 a foot, and that was as of 3 weeks ago, so I can only imagine what inch and a
Oh,
half is a
it's
foot.
yeah.
That's my cost, so. Okay, just,
Yeah, happy to send you the backup so you
Yep.
can, if you feel like the supplier is being dishonest on their
okay.
invoice, then by all means, we can
Yep.
follow up on it. So another PCO item is the SCADA piece. So their original proposal was about $38,000, and that included all 3 sites essentially. So we're waiting to get a price from Ben, but he's got his hand full blowing up vessels on the Manly project, so he hasn't gotten us a number on that yet. But he did say he was interested. Visco said they're willing to do the administrative piece to add it to that contract. And where it's being paid out of ARPA funds, I don't think it's the end of the world if it happens after January 6th. But we'd still like it to happen within the realm of when we're doing this project.
Yeah, not.
No, and you said you talked to Ben and he is working on it.
Yes, but I also have another project that I signed a quote for him
Yeah.
to reprogram Walnut Street. He hasn't done it. So I don't know whether he's just buried in work and taking work. I don't know how they work, the father, son, and brother, like.
So the third one is, I can't remember if we've sent this one to you or not yet, Art, but we'll send it to you if we haven't. But there was an RFI that came out about where the insulation board terminates. And essentially, the way it's drawn, there's a bit of an overhang with the foundation. And so as drawn, it works, it's been built that way in other projects. But the contractor said, hey, we've done this other places, and it can be prone to chipping. So it just, over the years, having that bit of insulation board exposed the way it is, it can get bumped and chipped, and it becomes kind of a cosmetic issue. So our architect came up with a alternate configuration. Said, yeah, that makes sense, you could do it this way. And the contractor essentially said, yeah, no big deal, it's like $4,400 cost of us to do it that way. So, it'll be completely elective, the price seems reasonable, but hopefully it just kind of gives you a slightly better, cosmetic finished product.
So building in the middle of the woods.
So we could say no, do it as drawn, right?
So I don't get, so the insulation board, it extends beyond the foundation and it gets chipped from what? Squirrels running up against the building?
Yeah, or, just
Somebody bumping
you're
it.
not careful backing your truck up doing a 3-point turn, or
Okay.
you whack it with a stick of pipe when you're walking by. I think, again, it's elective.
Okay.
So when we're processing this first change order, it will be for, a negative number, I guess, right? So it's gonna be the $36,000 credit plus these additional things. The $38,000 was for all 3 stations, so if we take the other one off, that would drop it down. I don't know by exactly how much. They have, we have to go to them and say, give us an updated number without Manly. But we think it's at least in the ballpark of $9,000 to $10,000 cheaper. There's one less computer, less labor, and maybe 1 or 2 less licenses. So once we confirm we're gonna go with, or at least once we have a quote from Ben, we confirm it's reasonable, then we'll get an updated quote from Waterline to find out. And then we'll see the total price. If Waterline does it all, it's 38. If he does this, they do this, it better be 38 or less, right? So, then the last item, we don't have a PCO on this yet, but it's coming, so I figured I'd just give you a heads up, is the hoisting winch. So, long story short, in the basement, we have a monorail with a trolley and a winch that would allow, in the operation of the plant, if you needed to pull up and move a pump for working on it, they're heavy pieces of equipment, so there's lifting equipment down there. We also upstairs have a portable gantry crane, and the intent for that is to be able to open up the floor hatch and then bring a pump up to the main level if you needed to. And in the spec, we had winches for both systems, the basement and the gantry. Unfortunately, during bidding, they asked a question, and we misinterpreted the question, gave them the wrong answer, and told them they only had to provide 1 winch, which admittedly was a dumb answer.
That's your mistake.
What's that?
That's your mistake.
It was our mistake.
So
Yeah.
why do we have to eat it?
So why are you talking to us about it?
Because you aren't going to have any extra costs, it's just rather the price of that winch being in your bid is gonna be in a change order. It's not like we missed something that's gonna cost you more because, we had an error in bidding. There's no labor, so it's not.
Is that an error or an omission?
I would say it's an error
Oh,
Because it was in the first
we
place.
read a question one way, answered it one way, but we should have read it a different way. I'm not making excuses,
So we lose again.
How much is it?
We don't know yet. We haven't asked for PCO, it's coming.
I'll tell you, 15 grand.
Well, the good news is it's material only, right? So we're gonna
No.
get,
If it's that, we'll go to the Granger catalog and buy it ourselves.
You're gonna buy from Granger, huh?
so obviously, we're not happy that we missed something.
You're not paying for it, we are.
Well, you would have paid for it either way. It's
We don't
just-
know that.
What's that?
That's just, okay,
Yeah, we would have paid for it if it was in the bid,
now it's a change order.
Now you're paying for it.
Right.
Still, yeah.
that's like buying a car, you didn't get the window, but you gotta put it in.
So again, luckily it's not a labor item, so it's not subject to labor burden. It's just material, and again, because it's material, they have to provide a quote, an invoice, so we know you're paying the amount you should be paying for it. It's not something they can try to hide some overhead profit in and kind of take advantage of the situation, so.
You guys wanna split it?
Well, it's just, think of it this
You can
way, it's just
afford
you have to give back a couple
I'll
feet
take
of
the other
concrete
half.
tubing.
Look at 14 million.
So I'm sure this won't be the last time on a
That you
project of this
forgot something?
size that something comes up that, we all feel like could have been unavoidable. But-
I'll tell you, I hope so, James, because they don't even have any foundation walls up there. We're already looking at potentially 5 change orders.
But at least the biggest one is,
We can't even get a
I'm not
fence
even in
there.
favor of that.
What's that?
I know what copper's got done in the past, and I mean, I can't see changing plastic to copper when we require houses to put copper services into their house.
That's another question. If I was building something, Wayne, would you ask for copper or plastic?
You'd be
Answer the
If
question.
it's in
Answer
my-
the question.
If it's in my house, I would I want copper,
Absolutely.
and I pay for
If I
copper
was
in my
coming
house.
off the street and it called for copper, Wayne,
I can tell you which is the better, it is the plastic.
And you would be doing copper, because that's what
Correct.
it's called for.
right, so why isn't it called for copper?
It was.
Then why are we doing it?
We haven't decided to do it now
Plastic
yet.
blows off.
You have
They
to
are
agree
being-
to
they are
She
it.
answered it.
They are proposing to us, it is our process, essentially our process piping for the plant.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue it's different, right? We're not terminating this above ground. So I think that helps. And again, it is water department process piping on the project site. So certainly, the standards you design things to at your treatment plants is not subject to the same, if you were thinking of it in terms of like permitting it, what you would have to do inside your plant is different than what DEP would make you do out in the street. They are two different goalposts, so to speak, and how they're handled, so. You are within your right to stick with the copper. We think when you do the kind of cost benefit analysis, it's nice to have a credit to offset some costs that are gonna come up on a project of this size.
14 million, $36,000.
What's that?
What's the project? What's this 14?
Yeah, it's like 14.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay, 36,000 here, 36,000 there, right? You see,
So it's real money.
But on a
business
project, we plan for there to be anywhere between 5 and 10% the construction cost to be change orders, right? So that's the industry standard expectation, which is why we typically carry a contingency of at least 10% on these projects. So if you think about it, 10% project would be $1.5 million in change orders. And, we're expecting to do far better than that. But I think it's also, if we're being realistic, the number's not gonna be 0%. And some of it's just the cost to design something that's 100% perfect is a lot.
and it never is anyway. There's no such thing.
Okay, that was number 4. Is there a number 5 now?
So it was, no, that's all. So that's the SCADA installation board, which I think you saw the RFI, but not the follow-up. So make sure you have all the information
Yep.
to help make that decision. Like I said, the winch is coming. It's not a PCO yet, but since we know it's coming, we just wanted to let you guys know. And then the credit.
The insulation board, is it the styrofoam board?
I'll send you guys the RFI and then the sketch. I think that'll do a better job.
Well, I know it's sticking down, if it was a styrofoam board, why can't we just run along with the razor knife and cut it off at the,
The weeds are gonna go in front of it anyways,
Yeah, it's just something about it doesn't make sense why it should cost more to.
for less.
Yeah, I'll send you the detail.
Yeah.
You can see what the
I would
architect
just let it
sketched out
go.
versus what it was.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, but we'll
Which
see.
you, yeah, it's built, it's constructible as is.
Just don't let the guys back into it.
yeah. Well, it won't- just over time, if you're swinging something, you bump it, and over time it dry rots.
Yeah, trim it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And bring up the valves.
Oh, so, yeah, good point. So it's, I guess technically is a PCO. So our specifications require Mueller valves for the project. So the town has standardized on the use of Mueller valves throughout town. This came up on the Manley project that had been standardized, but the spec in that case was vague as to whether or equals were allowed. So as a result of that project, we sought to clarify that in this contract. So long story short, we put a memo on file essentially saying, you guys have standardized, because it's in the best interest of the public. And then in our specifications, it says the valves shall be Mueller. The language or equal is not in there. So, project went out to bid. Waterline won the project. They submit valves that aren't Mueller. We say, these aren't equal, we've rejected it. They're claiming that Mass General Law does not allow you to say
A proprietary spec.
proprietary spec. So,
Yeah.
our position is that there are provisions in Mass General Law where proprietary specs are allowed. And when we feel like there are sound purposes in the best interest of the public, that is when one of those exemptions are. So based on the fact that you've standardized on it, we believe that you guys had sound reasons in doing so. Some of the reasons that we had, documented at the time were, if there's something that goes on out here and a valve fails and you need to change parts,
Yep.
having it be interchangeable with what you have on hand already is a benefit. Not having to have a second set of spare parts and have the crew know how to repair a second type of valve. These are all reasons why in an emergency situation, you want to be able to get in, do your repair, get out, and not have reasons, right? So we explained this to Waterline, and their interpretation of the law is that would never hold up, that reasoning would never hold up to scrutiny, right? So we reached out to the Attorney General to see if they would offer an opinion, and they said because they would be the likely arbiter in the case that this went to an actual claim, they can't weigh in at this time. However, here is a database of past decisions that you can go through. And they also said that, you have the option of reaching out to town council for further advice if needed. We went through the decisions, and in our opinion, there are no decisions that we came across that strictly say what we're requiring Waterline to do is not in compliance with Mass General Law. So, what it really comes down to is if we hold firm and say, no, we are within the law, and they file a claim with the AG's office, the AG will have essentially a judgment call to say, are the reasons we provided for why it needs to be a Mueller valve, are they adequate for the AG's office to allow this exception to proprietary specifications? And we would be at essentially their discretion. So the proposed value of the change order they submitted was to say, us, and by the way, everybody else on the project bid it with these valves, and they cost X, and Mueller valves are Y, we want you to pay us the difference, which was $4,600. So we originally had said no. But at this point, the question is, I guess, how far do you want to push this particular issue? We have, I guess, a couple options. One is we pull the valves out of the spec altogether, we go buy our own valves from Helm. But then that is a burden on Wayne and the budget to pay for those valves outside of the funding we have in place. Another option is to say, nope, we stand strong, you get town council involved, and the potential cost implications there are, that it costs you to fight the $4,600. Or the third option, which might be the most cost effective, but also might feel the grossest, is to essentially pay them the $4,600 to get the valve you want.
Nope. Mueller valves, because you explained it from the beginning, interchangeable parts. And let our esteemed Attorney General defend our case on this. Proprietary specs are, this isn't, well,
If they bring you another valve or similar, can't you reject it?
So we did reject it.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't like it, go with Mueller. You did your due diligence, right?
Yeah, so I think technically what we have to do is say this Kennedy valve.
Tell them you don't like the rubbers or something.
Well, that's what we said. We said that,
We had a problem up on the other place and the rubbers broke.
we're essentially saying the parts aren't interchangeable. That's what we're saying is why it's
They're not equivalent products.
But they're saying that it wasn't in the spec, it wasn't written.
no,
they're
from
saying
Mueller.
No, they're saying they know-
Proprietary spec, that's the
They know what
problem.
the spec says, but we know Mass General law better, and you can't say that, so we're doing it this way.
And they're from where, New Hampshire, right?
No, where are they
They,
from?
yeah, they actually might
Yeah.
be,
They
have.
but they're cited down here somewhere also.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
P.O.
company's
box.
out of New Hampshire.
I just think that at 2 o'clock in the morning, when we have to replace that valve, we have Mullers here, and we have to take the pack and gland off of that one. So, oh, that doesn't fit into the Kennedy valve, now what do we do? Oh, just shut half the town down without water, that's okay, they'll be fine. No, if this is how it's gonna start, they're not even out of the ground, and we approved a $900,000 requisition for them. In the nickel and dime us over $4,400 because of the siding's down, gonna hit the ground, and they want a $36,000 credit because they don't wanna put copper in over plastic, and this is great. Now, if we want Mueller valves, if you spec'd out Mueller valves, and this wasn't a mistake like change order number 4, I say we stick with Mueller valves. That's my opinion.
Okay? Well,
And I'll make a motion with that, that we stick with Mueller.
But we'll keep that in mind, because there's two ways you stick with Mueller. You tell them today, fine, put them in and we'll pay you the extra, and you get the Mueller.
Yep,
Or we say, give us the Mueller, you owe us the Mueller, and let them go to the Attorney General on it. At which point we
That's
may,
just a letter, right?
oh, they
That's a
probably,
I
formal
think the
letter.
AG's suggestion was, to use town council for that.
And write a legal brief.
We're not lawyers. We
no,
can-
if one states, they could not even bother going to the attorney. They could just say it's
They
not
may
worth
fold.
for the money, or if they do, then it would have to get town council involved, which is gonna cost some money
Yes.
to deal with that. And there's no guarantee when the Attorney General comes out at the end that she does give us the okay. She should.
right after the audit.
She should. That, the other issue is then that affects the schedule.
Yeah.
How long would it take
Well,
for that
then
to go through?
They install them under,
Yeah, but they can't stall the project.
no.
No, so they'd have to keep going forward, and if the Attorney General goes against us, we'd have to pay for
Pay
that
$4,400.
change order, plus probably their expenses for going through the process. But definitely, whichever way we go, I agree, we don't accept anything with the Mueller valves, period. It's just, do we go by the change order.
Yeah, because once lawyers
Or-
start exchanging letters, the adage is what, like the lawyers are the ones who win. That's the only, it's the only,
James, $4,400, really?
I
They're
know,
nickel and diming us.
I-
They got 14 million of our money coming.
I mean, I said the same thing the
Yep.
first time it came up to Wayne and Art, is like on
They're-
principle.
They're sharp,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
They're sharp.
Yeah.
So,
This is the beginning.
we're not even in the hole yet.
Yeah,
Well,
they
we-
knew bidding it that they were gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why we did, that's
because,
part of how they get the low
because
bid.
you're right to contract, that you have to be a lawyer to do the job.
Right.
So they got a team of lawyers, and they're saying, this is wrong, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
You wanna have the same playing field, I get it. But you shouldn't write up plans and forget things.
That doesn't
Right.
have anything to do with this part.
You shouldn't write plans and forget things,
Well,
and then come back to us.
and that's unrelated.
That was number 4.
Yeah, different
I know.
piece. I know you wanna beat on them for it.
No,
I don't wanna beat on them.
But different piece.
No,
Right now, we're talking about the valves. And do we want to, again, we should reject it out of hand. But do we want, if it goes to it, do we want to go with dealing with the potential of the Attorney General? Or if they don't back off, do we want to pay the change order? That's what it's going to come down to.
this valve they're talking about, right?
So they
It's
submit-
multiple
This
valves.
mule, right?
Yeah.
If it breaks, does Wayne fix it? Or does Wayne call in a subcontractor?
No,
Just
I
a
fix
question.
it. I fix it.
You fix it. If it was a subcontractor, then I'd just say, let it go because he just would buy the,
Yeah, but,
you know what I mean? But
But-
Wayne's gotta fix it and he wants Mueller.
yeah.
That's what we're saying.
They're all valves in the ground, I mean, Kennedy.
No,
or-
I get it. I'm just saying,
They're all-
it's up to you,
Over time, they can all fail in one way or another.
which they do.
Right. You could just let it go and maybe 15, 20 years down the road, they fail or they don't, you won't know. The mules have been in the ground since 1936 and some of them are still operating. I have no idea on Kennedy. I know on the Walnut Street project, they didn't use Mueller hydrants and those hydrants had a recall and they only gave you one port. They didn't give you the second port that had to be replaced. So, and I almost think they were Kennedy, but I don't wanna say that.
Do you know how many valves we're talking about?
I thought that it was under 20 or something.
It's
Yeah, I
20,
think it's in the team.
4,400.
No, 4,400 for the 20.
Yeah.
Valve.
However
For
many,
the
it's a
upgrade.
total.
Right. Oh,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a difference.
It's
in
not
price.
per valve.
Yeah.
So, it's $4,400. I get it. If we wanna fight it,
It's gonna cost more to fight it, ultimately, I think, because you're gonna.
I
pay
don't
legal
think,
fees.
I don't think it's a legal thing. I think they write in and the Attorney General, and then they give you an answer. or whatever.
6
I don't
months.
think there's lawyers involved.
I think it typically will go to a hearing, so both.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
you'll,
there will
both
be a
parties
lawyer
will
involved.
go in front. I don't know who would represent, the water department in that
You.
hearing.
You're our voice. You gotta represent us. We're paying you thousands of dollars. You're
Not
our
for, not
voice.
for legal representation, it would have to either
But I
use town
don't
council or
think
would
you're gonna
have
get
to.
legal. I don't think it's gonna go legal. They're gonna
I
call
don't know.
the Attorney General.
Which is the chief law enforcement officer in the state of Massachusetts. So it is going to be legal.
He called them.
You can
We-
call.
yeah, we tried.
them
It's an opinion.
You guys
To
called
try
them.
to get an
You
opinion.
You didn't hire
get
your
an opinion
lawyer.
from the Attorney General, but this ultimate
called-
They
decision
also
is from
said
a
that they
judge.
wouldn't talk to us because they're gonna make the ruling. So if Waterline calls them, they're gonna tell them the same thing. We can't give you advice on this because we'll be the ones ruling on it. So then they'd have to file a formal complaint against you essentially. At which point I think it would go to a hearing. That's not a process I've gone through.
That looks great. They're gonna file a formal complaint against us for requiring something that we want, but they wanna put something equal, in their opinion, that's equal to it. That makes sense.
What doesn't make sense is.
No, that's
doing
what
it
I'm being
over 40
sarcastic about
What
that.
doesn't make sense is them doing it over $4,400.
I know, so stick the valves and stick with Muller. I'm sticking with Muller.
Because what
Again, the
about,
Muller isn't the issue, it's which way do you want to stick with Muller? Do you want to?
Do you wanna pay, or do you wanna pay?
We're not gonna pay. The fire department bought a fire engine from E1 years ago, and the same thing came out with a proprietary spec, and they ended up buying an E1. That's what it comes down to. Look at that, I would think it was engine one probably 30, 35 years ago. Same thing, proprietary spec. Because an engine is an engine. Yeah, it pumps water, yeah, it can lay a line, yeah, it can do all this, put out a house fire, but it's still what the town wanted, and that's what they ended up getting. So, I spoke my piece. I mean, if we buckle now, what next? They already want to save money because the price of copper's gone up 40% in the past 8 months, and they're gonna want the nickel and dime's $4,400 for valves that we want because it complies with everything else. It's consistent with everything else we have in town, and we're gonna give them a credit. We're gonna.
what size is the copper going out the road?
1.5 inches. And James talks about, it's great because you got copper and plastic, blah, blah, okay, whatever. I'm a plumber, I'm not a scientist or, I just know what the price of copper is and they're trying to cut corners. They're trying to, that's
Well,
what's
in that
happening.
case, we get a
But-
credit.
Yeah,
They're
but
crediting
in,
us.
but in that
It's
case, if the credit's not big enough, we say fine. If we want to do it at all, we say fine, that's not
They are gonna
enough.
save
Come
on
back-
manpower, cause
come
it takes
back
a lot
and give
more
it
effort
full-
to
Of course it
unroll
does,
yeah.
1.5 inch copper than
Right.
it does.
But you could, so you reject it or ask for a larger credit. And if they don't give it a credit that's good enough that we feel like it's worth it, we tell them, fine, put in the copper.
Well, we just asked for the $4,800, we want $4,800.
Well, that's what's gonna happen, is that copper's gonna be, how much is it worth a foot, John?
Copper's $6, six
It's
bucks a
gone up.
pound now in the market.
Yeah, it went up recently.
3/4 copper, I priced it 3 weeks ago. 3/4 K was just under $10 a foot. 3/4 K. This is K, 1.5 K. This is probably 3 times that. So you're talking, say,
And
$30
how,
a foot.
and how many feet is it
I'm gonna
roughly?
say, if we said 1,200 feet, so what's 1,200 times $30 a foot? $36,000.
It's just quantity, it
Yeah,
doesn't say.
no wonder why they wanna go with,
Just and like Wayne said, you know what it's like to unroll a coil.
Inch and a half.
It's hard enough. 1 inch K or 3/4 K.
well,
Try
inch and a
it.
half is better than 2,
Try it.
Oh yeah, two comes flat.
it's horrible. So that's 36,000,
That's just my
yeah,
plumbing numbers.
they must have carried.
What's going up? It's the way it is. But I've said enough.
No, keep going.
No, I'm tired.
You're doing fine.
I'm up
Can't we-
for re-election this year. I
Well,
might not get elected.
these are things that we are gonna need to figure when
Can
we
we
decide
table it?
when those come. We don't have to do, I'd say we'd have to vote on it tonight.
No, that's.
It's just wanted it brought up so you guys are thinking about it, because when that change, the first change order we put together will be a bunch of change orders that they asked for into one bundle. So, didn't want this to come up the night that we had to vote on it, because there's stuff to, which way we go with these things. And as far as the one for the valves, send it back, reject, see what they do.
I think the AG's office makes an opinion on it.
They won't give an opinion to us, to anybody ahead of time.
No, I'm just saying
And
when
the
it
problem
finally comes
is
to the
they come-
hearing, because it's not a binding decision.
Let's just
Well,
move
no, but
on, let's go to something
For the
else.
$4,400, we're gonna spend that fighting, it's the problem, we have to go fight it. That gets us through the change orders, right? That was the last one, I think.
Yep, we already went through the schedule, so, I mean, any other questions you have on field?
Yeah. Have you seen that site over there?
Yeah,
When?
today.
How come there's not a fence around the place?
So they did their best to fix the orange fence around. When I looked at it, it was more or less intact. When I was over there, the excavator was back in its original location. I don't know at the end of the day whether they blocked the
They blocked it.
driveway up again, but that's what they've
So-
been doing.
There's stone in the hole.
Yeah.
What's that for?
So that's in preparation of kind of the mud mat.
Should they cover it?
They don't need to cover it per se, but if
Why?
they get, what's that?
Why?
Because they're responsible for.
There's no frost in the ground?
Well, they have ground heaters, so they'll be using that to thaw it out.
They're gonna put ground heaters before they do the mud?
Yeah, it came up at our meeting today, actually. Yep, they confirmed it. It's supposed to be on site this week, the ground heater, so they'll have it when they need it.
When do they plan on pouring?
So I think they're hoping to do the mud mat next week.
Depending on how conditions go with the weather and everything, they're
Yeah,
gonna be able to do it. But
Yeah.
that was their schedule, and end of next week was what they were shooting for when they said this
So-
morning.
They're gonna put ground heaters in, they're gonna wait, I don't know, 10 days. And those ground heaters are gonna take, I don't know, could be a foot and a half of frost out, no problem, before they pour. If they wanna put them in Tuesday and they wanna pour Wednesday, is that good enough?
No,
How
that's why
much time do they need when they put the ground heaters in?
they need to pass the soil testing. So there's a independent third-party soil tester who comes out.
The guy's gonna dig a hole in the stone?
Or if they want to pour it, they will. Yep.
You're gonna be there? Someone,
There, yeah, we have a full-time RPR.
okay.
Is a mud mat a foundation? Is that what we're talking?
No.
It's
I
not
had to
really,
ask.
it's, we were just talking about this morning, actually. So essentially, it is concrete, but it's a
And a
low
footing.
strength, reinforcement-free concrete. The idea is just to kind of give support to what's gonna be your ultimate foundation. So instead of your foundation going on, soil,
footing.
you essentially are putting this low strength concrete in.
You're spreading it out.
Yeah, you still have a footing on
Okay.
top of them.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, it's like they dig the thing, they dig out the subgrade
Yep.
and compact it, do it, but then they pour that down, it's like, almost like a leveling pad that sits there.
And then they put the footing on top of
But you
that?
should,
Yeah,
you
but it
should
spreads
not have
the
no
load.
frost.
Okay.
Oh, no, but they have, that's it, they have to get, they
Yeah.
left, that was part of why they left excess material in there in the first place,
Yeah.
was so that when they dug that out, but they're still gonna need the ground heaters. Well, they're assuming they're gonna need the ground heaters when they do it, and they'll have to get rid of the frost before they
Yeah?
put it in.
I mean, if we get
But
the
they won't be
snow-
allowed
I
to
just
do
thought
it.
they would, I thought they would cover it up and
No, they
And
didn't.
unless, if they wanna pour Thursday and they,
And it's gonna take a lot to do it.
Yeah.
They are gonna have to get it done and get it tested and approved before they can do it. So,
who's testing it?
I believe they are using SW Cole.
Yep. I think they're out of Brockton, right?
there's a few of them now.
I think
They
they're
bought-
out of Brock, Easton,
Because
Easton,
they're the ones that bought, Tibbet
yep.
back in the day, yeah. So we'll see what happens as they get going.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we get a sizable storm this weekend, then it'll probably will push things out.
If they're snowing, it'd be better for them.
Warm it up a little.
We gotta insulate it.
You'll keep it in.
Okay, what else you got?
No,
That's it.
Terry, you got something to add to this?
Wayne, anything yet, any
no,
Yeah,
info,
nothing. Go ahead,
James?
spinning.
no. We should let him go home.
Do you recommend Mueller or Kennedy?
Get all my remarks in there, Kerry?
It's gonna take me the
Yeah,
whole 2 days
John
to get it all out.
talks a lot.
I'm sweating over here.
I was gonna say, you could look at the.
You'll do a good
Probably
job.
have another sweater on,
I
huh?
know, I've got 3 on. It's cold out.
Yeah, but you're in.
I know.
All right, so
And then,
I guess that's it. Oh,
Next meeting is gonna be the first Monday of
Second,
February.
yeah, February 2nd.
yes, and then the second one's gonna be a Tuesday again.
Man,
Yeah,
Which is
we
what-
have
Why?
presidents.
Because President's Day,
Oh.
that's still a holiday in America.
So I won't be here that week, right, because that's school
Yeah.
vacation week.
Yeah.
So if you want, an update, we'll send somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we'll need something on that, because that's gonna be, assuming it does get moving, that's gonna be
Yeah.
another stretch. And then before you go on that pay rec 4, right, we approved that rec tonight.
I signed that, I don't think I ever got a copy, I remember signing.
Let's say we need
it at
one.
the Meeting.
There's one of these that goes to DEP, and we need the other one to go over to Town Hall. Because this is the one, that has not gone to DEP yet, correct?
No, they send, and then he gives us a copy with,
Yeah, I think
That's
it's gone to
got-
DEP.
That's all, I just want to confirm what's
We
gone
just
where.
go to town hall without DEP's signature because we can't hold up payments to the
But
contractor.
but you have sent this one already?
I believe
to
so.
DEP. Okay.
Confirmed.
All right, so you don't, just want to make sure when you leave, you don't need an extra one of this, you're all set. All right, then I just wanted to make sure so we don't get confused again as it goes forward.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
James,
Oh,
thanks for coming.
Yeah, anytime. Pleasure.
thanks, James.
James, next time, bring your gloves. Your boxing gloves.
Trust me, I'm my own biggest critic.
Oh, no, you're not,
See
you
uh,
ya.
haven't come around it.
Or it was until I met Mark. I guess.
Yeah. Forgot to do that one.
Here's the minutes.
Old business.
Just minutes. Nothing, actually,
EBA?
yeah, the CBM, I think, did I say that can come off?
No,
That's,
you want me to take it off?
yeah, that's gone through the decision and the rest, so as far as I know, that's done.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you talked about that last week.
I
What are
thought
we
so.
talking about? You can't.
Job description, have you looked at that anymore?
I haven't looked at it, I did print out, I don't know if you wanna, this is a different town,
Yeah.
probably not the same size.
I've actually, I left him a message because he wasn't working yesterday, but this guy, see if we can get the survey
Yep,
to see how that compares to, so we'll get a
alright.
little bit better. But it's tough because size-wise makes it difficult
Right,
to
we're
get
small.
good comps. That one's yours.
Thank you.
These are all done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do we have anything on that Lincoln Street invoice?
I have not heard anything from them, I sent them a letter, I know you guys haven't seen it, but I also went into the Lincoln Street project drawings, pulled out a copy of the drawing that said they had to replace,
Yeah.
cut the original hydrant out, cap it, and install a new one further down the road.
So they basically own almost everything.
They owned it,
were
I
doing
think
anyway.
what happened there is the Lincoln Street project was looking for a way to not pay for it and have us pay for it.
Yeah, why not?
And they thought they had something like, no, here's all the parts, this is how we've been operating with you for the entire project.
Yep.
So they never responded, he said he wanted to meet and then he never called me back.
That means you're gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
Cause if
Well,
not,
that-
then they
that
got
there's no
only,
leg
then
to
the
stand
Lincoln
on.
Street project would also owe me another hydrant on the other side of the street where they wanna put their McDonald's.
Give him a bill.
Okay, have we heard anything back from the meters yet?
I have not, I'll send them an email and ask them, you know, what became
Because he was
of it.
gonna look at all the, what was going on with those problems and.
I sort of missed, what's going on with the superintendent's job? Cause I just missed that.
He's gonna, yeah, what do you put it? We're going through, we have a summary of everything Wayne does. We have a regular job description, we're going through to get some comparable job descriptions from other communities.
Are we asking for any kind of licenses?
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of coming up with the description that we're gonna end up going out advertising to looking for a superintendent to replace Wayne.
How
So
many
we're looking for the-
licenses are called for this job?
So at a minimum, you need a D2 and a T2, so you need 2 licenses, treatment and distribution.
Is there any more?
Driver's license.
There are others, a lot of the things that are in what Wayne does typically aren't included in what normally a superintendent.
I hold a
does. So,
CDLA, most do not hold CDLs.
Things
I have a
like,
hoisting license, most do not, because they're not out there
We're
digging.
not asking that, we're asking for
well, but they
the
all,
chemicals, right?
no, but they all,
No,
see,
that's for
that's,
chemicals.
right now, if you took what his job description would be, and it's the same thing that the town did with the Public Works one, all that stuff is in there. Hoisting license, CDLs, which they end up waiving sometimes, but that you have it in, it's in the descriptions. We wanna window that stuff out to give us a better chance of filling it with something that meets what we need to run the system, which is the treatment and distribution licenses. You know, a lot of the things that get done, because Wayne, call it working superintendent, whatever you wanna call it, with the stuff that he does, that's not normally what you're gonna get trying to get a superintendent to hire. And it's tough enough to find these guys. So we wanna try to get the description worked down to what, something closer to what the superintendent's job would be. And it might turn into superintendent and come up with, maybe that means you need another foreman or something like that to take over some of what was being done when Wayne was doing that work instead of doing the things that a superintendent would normally do, which is.
Can't the foreman that's here handle the backlog?
Wayne's already doing the extra stuff when he's not there to do it or when there's too much going on at the same time. That's why we're trying to go through and figure it out, then go over it with what we have for personnel. Maybe we have to change some of the other personnel around, some of the stuff that we've put off from Wayne on to Kerry, where it's, Kerry puts like the stuff together for the consumer confidence report that Wayne just has to check. That's what we're trying to get all that stuff together so we can come up with a better description, because it's not easy to try to hire somebody for these jobs. The state makes it harder and harder with the requirements all the time. And, I mean, T2, D2 is fine, but I'd rather have someone who has at least the next level up.
You want the three.
Just in case anything changes in the system or the state changes the requirements for some of the stuff.
Someone's trying to get this job, we're more concerned about the treatment of the water. We don't care about the guy can drive a truck.
Right.
We don't care about that he needs a hydraulics license to run a forklift that they don't have, right? We're just trying to get someone to know the plant
Yeah,
and how to run the water
right.
and know Mueller valves and the proper stuff, correct?
No, mule
Yeah.
valves.
Which is why we're trying to get it, so when we put that out to say, looking for a water superintendent, we say just that stuff.
You want some help? I'll be more than happy. I'll start the printing.
Okay. Write it up. 'Cause right now, we've had enough trouble trying to get just workers, never mind getting superintendents. And the thing is, there were a few, when the Public Works was being interviewed, there were a few from other places that would probably have some close on the requirements if they'd be interested in coming down for the water department. So we might actually, we might get lucky and see what and be able to actually
I think
have
you-
a few.
I think you have a good card. Pretty good card. You running?
I wanna retire,
You retire.
No, I'm not. Especially when it's cold. When it's cold, I'm 10 years older than I usually am. What else? So I'll chase that kid down too and see if I can get more of that.
Yeah.
from
And I
him.
gotta look at it, strip out anything that's not, doesn't have
Yeah.
anything to do with treatment.
But you're still responsible for, you still gotta keep track of but it's not like you got somebody who's gonna be sending the guys out on the schedule, on the distribution, if there's breaks. You're still responsible for getting the distribution crew stuff done, making sure things, if they do repair, things get disinfected. The superintendent's responsible for all of it, regardless. So, but doesn't mean he has to be in the hole doing the work, or on the rough side running the machine.
He's gonna be the conductor. All aboard, let's go.
Give him a baton. All right, that's everything on the agenda. Anybody have anything else they would like to discuss tonight that we can talk about without it being on the agenda in the first place?
Carrie?
Terry's gonna just smile and
You're
keep her
all
mouth
set?
shut.
I'm all set.
Are you
Next
all
meeting
set,
is
Mr.
February
McLeod?
2nd.
As the spider said to the fly. I'm good.
You're good, John.
I'm good, thank you.
No more rant about, you know,
No,
one last time?
I'm good.
Wayne?
Beulah?
No, I don't have anything.
I'm just looking out for the best interest of the town, because we're looking at, on the hook, $169 million.
Beulah?
Yes.
Beulah?
Every nickel counts.
Beulah?
Get the vote out there.
Beulah?
We'll see.
The Mueller report.
All right, then, if that's the case, we don't need to do that, right?
Beulah?
No,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is what it is, yep. All right, then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh, when's our next meeting? I'm sorry.
Just
February
did that.
2nd.
I wasn't paying attention.
February 2nd.
Thank you.
Beulah?